following is a non-profit, fan-made recreation of the original radio program, The Shadow. All sound effects have been found on YouTube and freesound.org, while voices on CastingCall.club. Please support the official release.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
The Shadow, who aids the forces of law and order, is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. Several years ago, while in the Orient, Cranston learned a strange and mysterious secret, the hypnotic power to cloud men's minds so they cannot see him. Cranston's friend, Margot Lane, is the only person who knows whom the voice of the invisible shadow belongs to. This month's drama, The Blackball Murder. Greed, ambition, violence, and murder do not stalk their victims only in the dark byways of the city. Tonight, they lurk in the velvet darkness of the quiet anchorage of a yacht basin, as a tall, powerfully built man rows a dinghy to the stern of a sleek cabin cruiser, stows his oars, and makes fast the mooring line. Then he climbs aboard the cruiser and calls.
Anders! Miles Anders!
Yeah? Who's there?
Dan Jackson.
What are you doing in that anchorage? You're not a member of the Bay Yacht Club.
Yeah, you and the others saw to that.
I didn't blackball your application for membership.
Then who did?
I don't know.
You're the secretary-treasurer.
The voting is secret.
Yeah, but you know.
I don't. I swear.
Why was I blackballed? I live in the community, I own a yawl, and I know how to sail.
Maybe you sail too well. Maybe some of the other members would like to win a race occasionally.
Then let them learn how to handle their boats, instead of spending their time in the club bar.
Why try to join if you don't like us?
It was important to Helen, my wife.
But she's dead.
I have a broken heart.
Nonsense. The obituary notice said pneumonia.
Few people die of pneumonia these days, especially if they have the will to live.
I'm sorry, but what do you expect me to do?
Give me the names of the people who put the black ball in the box against me.
Why do you want to know their names?
I'm gonna ruin them. I'm gonna destroy them.
I didn't.
Who were they? Talk!
Let go of my throat. You're choking me.
There's an initiation ceremony at the club where you pretend to hang a neophyte for mutiny, isn't there?
Yes, but...
I'll string you up on your own boat if you don't tell me.
Let go. I'll tell you.
Name him.
Wilson, the new Commodore.
Who else?
Maud Harper.
You're lying, Anders. She proposed me for membership.
To get even with your wife.
I don't believe Maud Harper had anything to do with it. Who else?
Nobody else. It takes only one black marble in the box to...
Yeah. And you put it there because I beat you out on that real estate deal.
No. I didn't.
You're lying. And this is only the beginning.
Why did Miles Anders invite you out here to the Bay Yacht Club for dinner, Lamont?
I don't know. But the club serves a good dinner, and it's cool and pleasant down here near the water.
Oh, I wish we could go for a quiet moonlight sail.
Maybe I could borrow a dinghy and row you around the bay.
Careful, I might take you up on that.
Hold the thought. Here's Miles Anders, the club secretary. He has a cabin cruiser. Hello, Anders.
Cranston, I'm glad you were able to come. I've got to talk to you.
Sit down. I believe you met Miss Lane.
Yes, hello.
Join us for coffee and the wonderful peace and quiet of the night after the heat and hustle of the city.
There's nothing peaceful and quiet about the club these days. All nights, Miss Lane.
What's the trouble, Anders? Are the members still feuding over the election of Greg Wilson as a new Commodore?
No, it's because of an applicant who was blackballed.
Oh, one of those nasty situations.
It's worse than that. It was Dan Jackson, a real estate man out here. His wife died last week, after he was blackballed. He claims the humiliation helped kill her.
Oh, how awful.
Last night, Jackson came aboard my boat, threatened me, and demanded that I tell him the names of the members who blackballed him.
Did you?
He got violent, grabbed me by the throat, and threatened to hang me like we pretended to in the initiation ceremony.
Did you tell him?
Yes, Commodore Wilson and Maud Harper.
How could you be sure? As I recall, the balloting is supposed to be secret.
Yes, but as Secretary-Treasurer, I tend the box. The black marbles are heavier, and I can tell by the sound.
Even so, you shouldn't have told Jackson.
I thought he'd kill me, even after I told him. He accused me, too, and hit me. He knocked me off my boat into the bay, said it was only the beginning, and left me to drown.
He must be terribly bitter and hurt.
Have you told this to Commodore Wilson?
No, I haven't seen him around the club all day.
He should be warned.
Mr. Anders! Mr. Anders!
Maud? What's the trouble?
It's Commodore Wilson!
What about him?
I went out to his sloop to borrow his spare outboard motor.
Wasn't he on board?
Yes! He was hanging from the mainsail rigging, dead!
Cranston, can't we cut him down or lower him to the deck?
I think we better leave him just as he is until the police come.
Why did you call the police, Mr. Cranston? He must have committed suicide. He's been having financial difficulties.
It's not likely that a man would hang himself in that manner, Miss Harper. Furthermore, I'm sure he knew that suicide was no solution to anyone's problems. And after what Mr. Anders told me about his trouble with Jackson, I think the police should be on this as quickly as possible.
But Commodore Wilson had no trouble with Dan Jackson. He liked Dan. Even bought his new house through Dan. He wouldn't.
But according to Mr. Anders, the Commodore blackballed Mr. Jackson from membership in the club.
He wouldn't. He thought Dan was the best skipper in the bay.
Maybe that's why he blackballed him.
How do you know he did?
Anders has a keen ear for a sound of heavy blackballs dropping in the doomsday box.
I don't believe it.
And he claims he heard you drop one.
You're a liar, Miles Anders. I proposed Dan Jackson for membership.
So you could spite his wife and get even with Dan for ditching you for her.
You're a vicious, gossiping old liar, trying to get even with me because I won't have anything to do with you.
Everybody knows you bought a boat and got in the club just to grab a rich husband.
How dare you?
Hold it, Miss Harper. You can settle that later.
If Dan Jackson doesn't settle with her first.
And just what do you mean by that?
Anders told Dan Jackson that you and the Commodore both blackballed him.
He's lying. It's not true. I didn't.
At any rate, it won't make any difference to the Commodore now. Judging from the degree of rigor mortis, I'd say he's been dead for quite some time.
The harbor patrol boat is coming, Lamont.
Now, no more troubles with Anders, Miss Harper.
Don't worry, Mr. Cranston. I can wait until Dan Jackson finds out that Anders is the one who kept him out of the club and helped kill Mrs. Jackson.
We will return to the Shadow in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, the Shadow knows that there's hardly a driver who's not experienced that sickening, paralyzing pit-in-the-stomach feeling that comes when his car skids wildly over a wet, slippery highway. Is it worth the risk, motorists? Especially when you can now get a tire that will stop you quicker and safer on wet roads than you've ever stopped before. A tire that will put real blowout protection between your car and the road. And this new Goodrich Safety Silvertown with the Lifesaver Tread Skid Protection and Golden Ply Blowout Protection costs nothing extra. It's one of the best safety investments you can make. So play safe. Equip your car with these life-saving Goodrich, spelled Goodrich, Goodrich Safety Silvertown tires, before it's too late. And now, back to the Shadow. Half an hour has passed, and checking on the mixed clues and many motives behind the hanging at a suburban yacht club, Lamont Cranston and Margot Lane drive to the home of Dan Jackson, a prime suspect who was blackballed from membership by the Commodore's admission committee.
Jackson seems to be home. There's a light in almost every room.
He could have committed the crime and been home for an hour, Margot.
How long had the Commodore been hanging from that mast?
He's been dead for about 5 or 6 hours.
But by then it would have been daylight. and someone would have seen him hanging there in the middle of the anchorage.
That makes it murder. Even an autopsy doesn't prove that he was drugged or poisoned and kept in the cabin until it was dark enough to haul him over to his own mast.
Then it must have been a cold-blooded, premeditated killing for revenge.
It was. A symbolic killing at that.
How do you mean?
The police found a black marble crushed in the stiffened fingers of his right hand.
Look, Lamont! Someone in Jackson's house is going from room to room, carrying things.
It looks like he's packing. We'll ring the bell. I'd like to ask him a few questions before the local police arrest him.
He's coming to the door. Do you think he's guilty?
Suppose we let him tell us.
Yeah?
Good evening. Are you Dan Jackson?
Yeah, I am. Who are you?
Lamont Cranston. I used to be a member of the Bay Yacht Club several years ago.
Oh, look at you.
And this is Miss Lane.
Is she also a member of the club's ladies' committee? Belatedly calling on my wife?
No, I'm not a member of the club.
Look, I'm very busy. What do you want?
I'd like to talk to you before the police arrive.
The police? Oh, why should they come here?
To arrest you on suspicion of murder.
Murder? Who was I supposed to have murdered?
Commodore Wilson.
Greg Wilson? Ah, you're crazy.
Whoever murdered him is crazy.
Well, how did it happen? When was he killed?
When did you last see Commodore Wilson?
This afternoon. I went...
Aboard his sloop?
Yeah.
Why?
It was a personal matter and none of your business.
Now it's a police matter and the law's business.
So why should I talk to you?
If you're not involved, you better talk to someone who can help you prove it before you're locked in a cell and held without bail.
Cranston? I have heard of you.
I'd like to hear what you have to say, having heard Miles Anders and Maud Harper's versions of your trouble at the club.
So Anders has been shooting off his mealy mouth, eh?
It makes it look pretty bad for you.
Just how was Greg Wilson killed?
Maud Harper found him hanging on the mast of his sloop about an hour ago.
Look, I've been here all evening. I've been packing.
Where are you going?
Back to the city. My life is finished here. My wife is dead, my business shot. All because everyone knows I was blackballed by the club.
If you plan to leave town, why did you force Anders to leave the names of the people who supposedly blackballed you?
Well, I had to know who they were.
Anders claimed you threatened to destroy them, and even threatened to hang them as they do in the neophytes in the initiation ceremony, the way Wilson died.
I was only bluffing. I was just trying to scare that rat into telling me the names.
And Wilson was one of the names he gave you?
Yeah, but Anders lied.
Who told you he lied?
It was Greg Wilson himself.
When?
This afternoon.
Where?
Aboard his sloop.
And he was alive when you left?
Yeah.
Where were you until sundown?
I was aboard my own boat, off the public dock.
Can you prove it?
No, I felt sick. I felt beat. I took a couple of drinks. I went to sleep. I didn't wake up till after dark. Then I came straight here and started packing.
You're in trouble, Jackson.
Yeah, looks like I'm stuck with it, too. And... Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me. Hello? Yeah? Why? All right. I'll be right down. Sorry, Mr. Cranston. Miss Lane. That was Police Chief Sawyer. He wants me. I have to go.
We'll drive you to the police station.
No, thanks. I'll take my own car, okay? That's something I have to do before I go to jail.
Lamont, we've lost him. Where on earth could Dan Jackson have disappeared to?
I don't know, Margot.
Maybe we better go to the police station and wait for him there.
He won't show up there.
But the police chief phoned him from there.
No, Margot, that call didn't come from the police. I think Jackson meant to lose us long enough to take care of that unfinished business he mentioned. If the police had wanted him, they would have picked him up. He used that call as a ruse to get rid of us, and that's why we're following him.
And now we've lost him. What do we do now, Lamont?
We've got to guess where he's going, and I've got a hunch where he might be. Well, Margot, you're getting your boat right on the bay, but the peace and quiet and the silvery moonlight are gone.
It's so pitch black, I can't see Dan Jackson's yawl.
The dock attendant said it's the third in the line of the outer buoys, and we just passed the second.
So it should be just ahead. Row on, McDuff.
No need to. The tide's carrying us.
What do you expect to find on Jackson's boat?
I hope I don't find what I'm looking for.
You think he's innocent?
More than that. Framed.
There's a yawl, dead ahead.
I see it. Perfect craft for... Quiet, Margot. do you see what I see?
A dinghy tied alongside.
And this is Jackson's dinghy the dockhand loaned us.
I wonder what it can mean.
We're going to go to the port side and see.
It might be the police.
Not in a dinghy. Listen.
I don't hear a thing.
We're coming astern. Grab hold, but don't tie up. I'm going aboard. If there's trouble, shove off and get ashore and call the police.
Please be careful, Lamont.
Now, stay in the dinghy.
Lamont! Behind you! Lamont! Lamont! Answer me! I can't see you! Lamont! Lamont!
I hear bells.
It's the channel marker. You're on the deck of Jackson's yawl. Are you all right?
Yes.
You were out cold. He hit you with a heavy anchor rope.
Did you get a good look at him?
No. He ran to the other dinghy and got away with an outboard motor.
I wonder what he was doing here.
Could it have anything to do with these?
Black marbles. Where did you find them?
On the deck. Whoever hit you must have dropped them.
Good girl. Let's go.
Go where?
We have one more boat to board. And this time, I think the Shadow will take a hand in this murderous Blackball game.
With one murder, resulting from the jealousies and hatreds at a suburban yacht club, an accomplished fact, Lamont, Cranston, and Margot Lane are trying to identify the Blackball killer before he strikes again. It is after midnight, and the bay is silent and deserted.
Whose boat are you looking for, Lamont?
Miles Anders, the club secretary-treasurer. It's a 30-foot cabin cruiser moored right off the end of the club dock.
The clubhouse seems to be closed. There isn't a light showing.
I'm not surprised, after the hanging of the Commodore.
I wonder how many other members are afraid Dan Jackson thinks they blackballed him from membership.
Hold it, Margo. There, Anders' cruiser with a dinghy alongside.
Lamont! There's another dinghy tied to the stern of the cruiser.
Margo, I'm going aboard. I want you to row back to shore.
But there must be 2 people on board Anders' cruiser.
That's what I'm counting on. Get to a phone. Call the local police. Get them down here on the double.
Hadn't you better wait for the police, Lamont? There are 2 of them on board the cruiser.
No, Margot. I think it's up to the Shadow to prevent another Blackball murder. By hanging.
Have another drink, Dan, and I'll tell you why I phoned you to meet me before the police got to you.
Well, I didn't come here to drink. Why did you call me? And where did you go in your dinghy this time of night?
Ah, never mind that. You're a German, I can help you.
How?
You have no alibi for the time Wilson was killed, and neither have I.
So what?
We can alibi each other.
How?
We can say that I was aboard your yawl, drinking with you.
Why do you need an alibi? I'm the one that was blackballed. I'm the one the police will suspect. You saw that.
Drink your drink, and I'll explain.
Hey, what was that? Someone came alongside.
It's just the dinghy's bumping against the cruiser. The tide's turning. Listen.
Look, I'm tired of listening. This is a trap.
No, listen to me, Dan. I need an alibi, too.
What for?
I had trouble with Wilson. I've used the building fund for the new clubhouse. As the new Commodore, Wilson went over the books and found out.
So that's why you killed him, eh? You tried to frame me. You dirty...
Yes. And now I'm going to make it look good.
What did you put in my drink?
I mixed you a Mickey, you fool. Same as I did for Wilson after you left him this afternoon. I swam out and climbed aboard. Nobody saw me. Nobody will ever know.
I'll kill you, you dirty rat.
No, Dan. I'm going to get you back to your yawl, and in the morning, they'll find you hanging. A suicide of remorse.
No, Miles Anders.
Who are you? Where?
The Shadow, Miles Anders. And don't waste the little time you have left trying to see me.
Why can't I see you? Your voice. You're here in the cabin, or else I'm going mad.
You are mad. To have killed a man to cover up a petty crime. And you can't see me because I have the power to cloud your mind and force you to tell me the truth.
What do you want, Shadow? Why have you come here?
To return these.
Where did you get those blackballs?
On the deck of Jackson's yawl, where you dropped them when you heard Lamont, Cranston, and Margot Lane coming. You meant them to be another bit of a circumstantial evidence in case you fail to trap Jackson and kill him tonight.
That's a lie. No one saw me. No one can prove it.
Jackson will prove it when he regains consciousness. He'll beat the truth out of you, beat you to a pulp, if you don't confess the whole rotten story of murder and treachery.
No, he won't. I'll kill him and you.
Murder comes easy after the first, but no guns, Anders. Stick to drugging and hanging your victims.
The police! They won't get me. My leg! Broken! I can't get up!
Ironic, isn't it, Anders, that a single misstep on a rolling marble, a child's plaything, and a man's symbol of rejection of his fellow men should bring you and your murder scheme to the bar of justice.
Lamont,
Yes, Margot?
what made you suspect Miles Anders?
I didn't suspect him at first. I merely went on the assumption that Dan Jackson was innocent, and therefore some other member of the club was guilty.
Why not Dan Jackson?
Because Jackson is a hot-tempered man, incapable of careful planning. And if he had killed Commodore Wilson, he's so strong that he wouldn't have needed to drug him before he hanged him.
What made you think Dan was going to meet the killer?
Because I had asked Police Chief Sawyer to hold up on arresting Jackson until I could talk to Dan and test my theory.
So when Dan Jackson said the police wanted him at the station, you knew he was lying.
And when he refused to ride with us, I was certain of it.
So we followed him and he gave us the slip.
But I thought he was meeting someone aboard his own boat, and that was a mistake.
Nearly a fatal one. For you.
Listen next month for the final episode of the season. But remember,
The weight of crime bears its bitter fruit, for crime does not pay. The shadow knows.